Okay, so after that, we continue the downward spiral and we go to the Intercontinental Championship match between Cody Rhodes and The Big Show. I, of course, like everybody else, was hoping that Cody would come out with the title, but at the very least, hoping that Big Show would win by DQ or countout. And naturally, Big Show wins via pinfall, wins the championship, and now we're going to have him carry the title for a transitional feud and eventually drop it to somebody else, maybe like Lord Tensai or something. I don't know. But the thing that bothered me about this match isn't necessarily just the fact that Big Show won, because at least with the storyline, it makes sense. But it was just it was the same kind of match quality that I expected it to be, and I had really no hopes for it whatsoever. So, at the very least, I was hoping that after those two matches that we had just seen, that this would kind of maybe do something, and it didn't at all. And that was just how many disappointments in a row can you get before you just start not giving a shit anymore?
Yeah, it was. Firstly, I just want to acknowledge the fact that Rey Mysterio was at that event because he designed most of the awful, awful costumes that these guys were wearing.
Oh, Jesus
L-
Christ, we'll talk. Yeah.
It looked like most of the stuff came out of Rey Mysterio's House of Crap. So I don't know what they were doing with them, especially the long, coat-tailed sort of outfits that most of the guys seem to have been wearing. Someone thought it would be a good idea to put it on every single person that came into the ring.
Yeah, Cody needed to wear a dress, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and that we sort of started the match off in a rather negative tone. And then when he got defeated by Show, I was like, you didn't need to do it. Now Cody's in limbo because he's not basically doing anything with himself. You know, he's not going for the world championship. He's not going for the mid card title. The only way they can redeem him at the moment is by having him defeat the Show for the title once again. But I don't know if they're going to go that route.
Hmm.
But him losing the championship at Mania, not a good idea.
Unless it, I think we can all agree here, at the very least, he loses it to a main eventer and a giant, so it's not like he lost it to Hornswoggle or something like that. And
Ugh.
there's a possibility that maybe with all these new people that they're bringing in, maybe they'll consider keeping Cody Rhodes kind of in like the upper mid card for this year and sort of ushering him a little bit more towards the main event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I think it's commendable to Cody though to help. He basically, made me actually care somewhat about a Big Show match and kept my interest through it. So I want to give him credit for that. For how short the match was and for what he was able to do out there with Big Show's limitations. I think he did a really good job. Yeah, I give him props for
You
that.
guys noticed how they were burning all these matches off? It looked like they just got them out there, made them work for a couple of minutes, burnt it all off so they could just show some more and more segments of how great they are as a company.
Huh.
It
Yeah, and
was
that's another
literally,
thing is the setup that I had for the predictions was how I thought that they were going to book the pay per view. Because to me, it makes sense to kind of have a decent match, a bathroom break, a somewhat decent match, bathroom break, that kind of a thing. And by this point in the pay per view, I'm thinking to myself, are they just going to really go through all of the ones that are the filler and then just stack the end of the pay per view and make people miss that kind of stuff? Which they did, which I think is retarded, but of course, I didn't know how many commercial breaks there were going to be in between the matches, which kind of justifies it in the end. But like at this point, Dace, was anybody that you saw? Because you were saying that that wasn't really filled yet. It was starting to fill up, or
Um, kind of. I mean, I know I was interested in this match because I'm a huge Cody fan, and people were listening for the most part and watching and hoping for like a Cody push. And it turned into another like. Are you kidding me? Like no one that the crowd wanted to win has won in the past three matches, and they were just disgusted at this point.
hmm. Well, what did you think about the match personally?
I enjoyed it. It felt kind of like a spot fest here and there. Cody's a hell of a performer. I enjoyed Cody's performance, and you know, as long as he's heading towards the World Heavyweight Championship, I think this match was good. If he doesn't end up there and gets fallen into like obscurity, fuck this match.
Hmm. All right. Anything else we got to talk about for this?
I pretty much agree with what Dace had to say 100%. As
Yep.
long as it,
I just don't. Sorry, Brandon, go on.
I was saying, as long as it, he's done with, being mid card champion because they want to propel him further, and this is just a way to get the title off of him, it's fine. If it's not, then I have a big issue with it because it's like, well, Big Show's champion for no reason other than, just to add his name to the Triple Crown Grand Slam, you know, ordeal, and then, Rhodes gets left with nothing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So we're.
And
God.
he he literally got left in a situation where Rhodes got a raw deal, and it wasn't given enough time. But that's it.
Once again, not given enough time considering how his match with Rey Mysterio could have been a little bit better last year. Or was it last year? Yeah, last
Yeah.
year.
Mhm.
Yeah, but at least it told a story.
Right, served a purpose.
Yeah,
Actually,
and
I thought
this,
that match was actually one of the more underrated matches from WrestleMania 27. It's not one that you hear a whole lot of people talk about, and I thought it was one of the better matches on that show.
that saved the show for me on 27. That kept me watching the pay-per-view. Because if that match turned out horribly, I probably would have turned it off.
All right, well, then the next part, we're going to talk about something that everybody turns off, and that's the Divas. So, unfortunately, we got to talk about that, but part 6 is going to be the Maria Menounos and Kelly Kelly versus Eve and Beth match.